we not come in because there's a danger to all of this. And we want to make sure that everybody is safe above all. And so they've asked us to ask people to leave the site and seek shelter. And what we'll do is we'll make up for this very quickly at another time. And we'll do it as quick as possible. And we're devastated that this could happen. But we want to keep everybody safe. It's the most important thing. And we want everybody there to be 100% safe. There seems to be some thunder and lightning, and it's a pretty big storm. So if you don't mind, I think we're going to have to just do a rain check. I'm so sad. I'm in North Carolina right now and waiting to go in. But there's
neighborhoods that have been left behind and laying the groundwork for economic opportunity that endures through generations. That's the sort of work that changes the world. So thank you, Chloe. Thank you. I also want to thank all the other speakers here tonight, including your remarkable mayor. Jane, you're something else, kid. Thanks for the passport into town. I appreciate it. And my friends, and they are my friends, Congressman Charlie Crist. John, you were there in the beginning, Charlie. Thank you, pal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Kathy Castor, her district. I sought permission to come. She said, okay. Thanks, Kath. And Alan Cohn, who we've got to send to Congress. And I just spent some time with one of my best buddies, a guy I served with for a long time in the United States Senate, Bill Nelson. I haven't served with anyone with more character, courage, and decency than Bill. And his daughter Nan and his son Billy, as well as Amazing Grace, was with him. She's something else, isn't she? Look, folks, 5 days left. 5 days. But who's counting, right? But who's counting? Scranton? I got a Scranton sign here. I don't know, man. I'm getting Wilmington. I'm getting confused here, man. Millions of Americans have already voted. Over 75, I'm told. 75 million. And millions more are going to vote before this is over. And I believe when you use your power, the power of the vote, we literally are going to change the course of this country for generations to come. We're going to do it both at home and abroad. Right here in Florida with all of you. You're the ones who built this country. CEOs in Wall Street didn't build this country. You did. No, not a joke. I've been saying this for years. Middle-class people did. Hard-working folks. And unions built the middle class, I might add. And you're the ones who are going to save this country. Look, I said I got in this race for 3 reasons a year ago. A little over a year. And I meant it. The first was to restore the soul of this country. This is not who we are. This is not who we are. We're more decent, honorable. We're more respectful. We're better people than we're being seen from this administration. Second reason was to restore the backbone of this country, the middle class, and bring everybody along this time. And thirdly, to unite this country. We have to unite us in these final days. Keep that sense of empowerment with you, that sense of optimism, what we can do, what we can overcome. It's the God's truth. I've never been more optimistic about America and America's chances than I am today, because I know the American people. I know who we are. We have never, ever, ever, ever let the country down, given a chance. On November 3rd, we're going to unite this country and show the world who America really is. I mean it. I know it's hard. Over these past few months, it's been so much pain, so much suffering, so much loss in America. More than 225,000 people dead. 225,000. The estimates are, if we acted responsibly, there'd be 160,000 fewer dead than there are today. Because of COVID-19, we're now past the 9 million mark of people infected. More than 16,000 16,000 people in Florida have been lost. And millions of people are out of work, on the edge. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like that old bad joke of my generation. It's a freight train, because that's what happens if he stays in office. Donald Trump has given up. Over the weekend, the White House Chief of Staff said, and I'm quoting, "We're not going to control the pandemic." It's obvious he's not. At the debate last week with Trump, he said, we're rounding the corner. It's going away. We're ready to live with it. Remember what I told him? He's asking us to learn to die with it. That's what's happening. Donald Trump has waved the white flag, abandoned our families, and surrendered to this virus. But the American people never give up. We never give in. And we surely don't cower. And neither will I. Donald Trump just had a super spreader event here again. They're spending more than just coronavirus. He's spreading division and discord. We need a president who's going to bring us together, not pull us apart. I'll put in plan a place to deal with this pandemic responsibly, bringing the country together around testing, tracing, masking. Leading doctors in America, including Trump's own CDC director and Dr. Fauci last week, said that if we just wore a mask between now and the end of the year, we'd save 100,000 lives. Folks, that's not a political statement. It's a patriotic duty, for God's sake. But still, Donald Trump refuses to listen to science. And we shouldn't be politicizing the race for a vaccine. We should be planning for its safe use and free and equitable distribution, providing PPE for national standards for schools, businesses to open safely. I laid out a plan back in May how to do that. Bringing together Republicans and Democrats to deliver economic relief that's already been passed by the Democratic House of Representatives for working families, for schools and businesses. I've said it before, I'm not going to shut down the economy. I'm not going to shut down the country. I'm going to shut down the virus. You know, Donald Trump inherited a strong economy from Barack and me, just like he inherited everything in his life. Oh, it's a fact. He squandered that economy like he squandered everything else. But folks, I promise you, I guarantee you, we can build back and build back better with an economy that rewards work, not wealth. And we can do it without raising taxes a single solitary penny on working class or middle class families. I guarantee you, my word is a Biden, no one making less than $400,000 will pay a single penny more in taxes. Not a penny. But I tell you what I'm going to do, and I make no apologies for it. I'm going to ask the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations of the Fortune 500 companies, 91, making a collective billions of dollars, didn't pay a single solitary penny in federal tax. But I'm going to make sure they pay their fair share. Why should a firefighter, an educator, a nurse pay a higher rate than the super wealthy or corporate America? Because you do. You do. Why should you pay more taxes than Donald Trump pays? You know, if we made this as a movie 10 years ago, people would think we were making it up. But it's true. We're going to deliver tax relief for working families, the middle class, to help you buy your first home, help you pay for health care premiums, for child care, for caring for your aged loved ones, for eliminating college debt. We're going to take care of this. And we can afford it. Look, Trump got his Supreme Court justice. And he did it for one overwhelming reason. Something he's been trying to do since the day he got elected. to destroy the Affordable Care Act. He's going at it again. If they get their way, 100 million Americans will lose protections for pre-existing conditions, cancer, all diseases that are out there. Folks, look, 8.4 million Floridians have pre-existing conditions. Complications of COVID-19 will become the next pre-existing condition, allowing insurers to jack up your premiums, deny your coverage. A lot of you young people don't even realize it, but before we passed the Affordable Care Act, insurance companies charge women more for the same health care as men just because they were women. Fact. Donald Trump thinks health care is a privilege. I think it's your right. If we all get out and vote, we'll not only restore Obamacare, we'll strengthen and build on it. So you can keep your private insurance if you like it. And you can choose a Medicare-like option if you don't. We're going to increase subsidies and lower your payments and deductibles and premiums, out-of-pocket spending, reduce the unknown billing, reduce prescription drug costs by, according to the experts, by up to 60% by allowing, not making this stuff up, by allowing Medicare to negotiate for drug prices. We're going to make sure you keep the protections for people with pre-existing conditions. We're going to protect Social Security and Medicare, which they've been trying to cut for years. Meanwhile, the Social Security actuary, the guy who runs it, says the plan, like Donald Trump says he wants to institute if he gets reelected, he says will bankrupt Social Security by 2023. As my wife would say, Google it. You'll see what I'm telling you. You got that right, pal. He said Trump is bankrupt. By the way, he probably is. He owes $400 million to somebody. Anyway. Folks, we have to vote. We have to vote for our military families. No, not a joke. Folks, of all the things Donald Trump has said, nothing has bothered me worse than the way he's spoken to those who served in uniform. He called them losers and suckers. My deceased son, Bo Biden, who won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal, and other awards, volunteered to go to Iraq for a year, gave up his Attorney General job to go with his unit. He wasn't a sucker or loser. He was a patriot, like all of you who served, like your sons, your daughters, your parents and your grandparents. We have to vote for their dignity, respect they are due. We have to vote because while Donald Trump fails to condemn white supremacy, we can deliver racial justice while he's trying to make it worse. Look, Donald Trump doesn't believe that systemic racism is a problem. He won't say Black Lives Matter. We know they matter. That's why a season of protest has broken out across the nation. But by the way, protesting is not burning or looting. Violence must never be a tactic tolerated, and it won't. But these protesters are in a cry for justice. The names of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake will not soon be forgotten. Not by me, not by us, not by this country. When I met with the family, his little daughter looked at me. She's only about 7 years old. And I knelt down to talk to her and the family. She looked at me, she said, Mr. Vice President, my daddy is changing the world. Well, guess what? The inspiration coming from her daddy and what happened. This new wave of justice in America, but true justice is also more than just dealing with abuse. It's about economic justice. It's about schools, housing, access to capital, good-paying jobs, a minimum wage of a minimum of $15 an hour, financial stability, giving families of color a real shot to own their own homes, start a small business, send a child to college debt-free, so we can build wealth and pass on opportunities through generations like we did, like so many middle-class families have in the past. But we have to vote to ensure the full promise of this country. We have to vote to meet the challenge of climate crisis. Because you know in Florida, it is a crisis. We've all seen the impact more than most. Devastating hurricanes that lay waste to whole communities. Economic toll is astounding, and it grows every year. But the human toll is worse. Lost lives, lost homes, small businesses shattered. First responders put at risk. From the West Coast burning, the middle part of the country flooding. Donald Trump, when he thinks climate change, he says hoax. Well, guess what? Speaking of hoaxes, remember what he said about these increasing violent hurricanes and the frequency? He actually said maybe we should detonate a nuclear bomb over the Atlantic. By the way, the same stable genius who said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports. Whoa. Yo, man, I tell you what. Look, his answers to families in Puerto Rico struggling through Hurricane Maria what did he do? Toss rolls of paper towels at them. He doesn't have any real answers. We know we can do something about it. While combating climate change means jobs, we can unleash American ingenuity in manufacturing and build a stronger, more climate-resistant nation, creating millions of new high-paying jobs. We can change the path we're on. We've got to act now. Time is running out. This country can't afford 4 more years of Trump, who thinks he's only responsible for the people who voted for him. I don't see the presidency that way. I see the America as an American. I'll run as a proud Democrat. But guess what? It's starting to rain. I'm going to shorten this for you all. I don't see America that way. In 2008 and 2012, you placed your trust in Barack and me. Well, guess what? Each day we were in office, we worked for you, the entire country. It was never about red states or blue states, always about the United States of America. I was reminded of that last month when I visited Gettysburg. Folks, you know what? When I went to Gettysburg to make that speech, Abraham Lincoln said, "A house divided cannot stand." Well, a nation divided cannot stand. I was reminded of that earlier this week. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to go to iwillvote.com/FLA. Become FL. Return your ballot today. I never forgot what President Kennedy said about going to the moon. He said, we're going, you know why? Because we refuse to postpone. Let's not postpone and get out of the rain. God bless you all. Thank you.
Flying in a few minutes, but they really prefer that we don't do it because it's a danger to all of this, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe above all. And so they've asked us to ask people to leave the site and seek shelter. And what we'll do is we'll make up for this very quickly at another time. But we'll do it as quick as possible. And we're devastated that this could happen. But we want to keep everybody safe. It's the most important thing, and we want everybody there to be 100% safe. There seems to be some thunder and lightning, and it's a pretty big storm. So if you don't mind, I think we're going to have to just do a range